Madam President, I had the opportunity to hear the senior senator from Maine a few moments ago speak on the measure before us and how it has seemed to have become completely enmeshed in the political agenda of the other side. I want to commend her for her efforts to get this bill right. Senator Lemieux was on the floor earlier. Another one of our colleagues on the Republican side have worked long and hard to get this bill across the finish line. But I must say, Madam President, it takes a lot of effort to make a partisan issue out of a bill that should have a broad bipartisan support. I mean, you have to go out of your way, as Senator Snowe pointed out, to make a small business bill controversial. But our friends on the other side have managed to pull it off. They've outdone themselves. We got this bill in late June. This is July 29th. Since then, the Democrats have set it aside 6 separate times to move on to something else. So from the beginning, this bill clearly wasn't a priority to them until they realized they didn't have anything to talk about when they go home in August. I think one Democratic senator put it best when he suggested this week that a midterm campaign that revolves around his party's agenda and that of the White House is a losing proposition for the majority. He was summing up their strategy on this bill. They knew they couldn't run on a record of job-killing taxes, burdensome new regulations, massive government intrusions, and record deficits and debt. So what do, Madam President? What do? They create an issue where there is none. That's what this debate is all about. It was clear from the beginning there was a path for this bill to pass with a very broad bipartisan majority. Instead, we're standing here this morning looking at a third version of a bill that we have yet to engage in any substantive amendment process. They've been adding either controversial or completely unrelated matters to the bill, all to avoid any real debate and to avoid voting on Republican amendments. I mean, this thing now has over $1 billion in agriculture spending in it. It's got $1 billion in agriculture spending in a small business bill, in the core bill, the most recent version of the core bill. And as I said, we've been on this since June the 29th. Republicans have asked for a total of 8 amendments. A total of 8 amendments we've asked for. That's about 2 votes a week if we'd been on this bill. Not too much to ask. So it's obvious what's going on. They wanted to make this an issue so they have something to talk about other than their failed economic policies. The President made that clear 2 weeks ago when he accused Republicans of blocking this bill, a statement every single fact checker in town has shown to be false. So they can try to deflect attention. They can try to deflect attention all they want. You can manufacture a legislative impasse, and that's what's happened right here, a manufactured legislative impasse. But the American people know what's going on here. Nearly every major piece of legislation this Congress has considered has had painful consequences for small business. Nearly every major piece of legislation this Congress has considered has had painful consequences for small business. Attempting to create a controversy isn't going to hide that from anyone, Madam President. Hopefully, if cloture is not invoked, we can return to the original intent of this bill, strip it of its controversial add-ons, and pass a small business bill that attracts broad bipartisan support and helps American small business owners. Given the legislative record of this Congress, they could certainly use the help.